path to the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series Championship will hit a roadblock tonight at a track that is nothing short of electrifying, as this small town in northern Tennessee comes to life, offering an almost thunderous feel that vibrates throughout the half-mile Coliseum. But tonight, this Coliseum will shine at its brightest tonight for the stars of NASCAR. But for four drivers, those bright lights will burn up their chances of continuing their chase for the championship. Tonight, 15 drivers will race hard for 11 spots at the track that is known as Thunder Valley. Welcome to the final race of the round of 16 in the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, as we are live from the Bristol Motor Speedway for the running of the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol here in Bristol, Tennessee, and it is offering nothing but crisp, cool, gorgeous weather here tonight. Temperature going to be in the low 60s, a 30% chance of rain, a slight wind 4 miles an hour heading south through the racetrack, but a high humidity at 84%. But most importantly, we will be going racing here later tonight. Welcome everyone back to an episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jett. Hope you're having a wonderful day. A Saturday night as we get ready for the final race of the round of 16 in the 2024 NASCAR playoffs. If you haven't already, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content here on this channel. Really do appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on who do you think is going to win today's race. Alright folks, let's jump into with our news and notes. The big story today is a big shocking revelation for what's going to take place for the remaining of 2024 and the future in 2025 regarding around two drivers, Corey LaJoie and Justin Haley. Yesterday, it was announced that a trade has happened. When was the last time you heard a trade in NASCAR? Justin Haley and Corey LaJoie will be swapping rides effective next weekend at Kansas and will proceed throughout the final 8 races of the 2024 campaign. Now, the interesting part about this news is that while Justin Haley will join Spire Motorsports next week at Kansas, he will continue driving the 7 car for 2025 onwards. Corey LaJoie, on the other hand, well, his final 8 races at Rick Ware Racing will be viewed as basically an audition, as the team owner has not confirmed on whether or not that Corey LaJoie will continue driving the 51 car in 2025. It's very interesting because two things. First off, with Justin Haley, I mean, this is a coming home moment for Justin Haley, as basically he kind of started his Cup Series career at Spire Motorsports, got his very first win at Daytona in July of 2019 with Spire, so it's kind of reconnecting once again between those two parties. And also interesting considering the fact that Justin Haley joined Rick Ware this season on a multi-year deal and proved a lot of people wrong, including myself. He has stepped up with that 51 ride. They have improved greatly in performance over a year from this year and last year, and it has wildly leaped Haley's former team, Colleague Racing and Performance, and now he's going to a team like Spire Motorsports, who I feel like going into 2025 now, look at the drivers they have in the lineup. Now they got Justin Haley, who has overperformed that 51 ride. You now got Michael McDowell, who has shown great speed in that 34 ride, and Carson Hocevar, who's going to be in his second year next year, but has shown already extreme potential in that 77 ride. Made big improvements, not only in terms of development with their Truck Series division down there in the lower series, but also made massive upgrades in the Cup Series, improving their performance week in and week out. Spire Motorsports is going to be a team to watch in 2025, and they could possibly have a breakout year now that they've got 3 really talented drivers behind the wheel of their race cars. As for Corey LaJoie, I mean, I'm not surprised to see that these 8 races are viewed as an audition. Definitely, when you look at this trade deal, Spire Motorsports won, Rick Ware did not. I don't know into the specifics as to how that this deal was able to take place, because there was even a lawsuit that said that Haley was supposed to drive the 51 ride for the remainder of this year. Well, obviously that's not happening now, so you have that thing going on. Also, Haley, the connection with him, RFK Racing, there was some speculation on whether or not that RFK would get a third charter and bring Haley up to that division. That now has obviously gone away, and now they've aligned themselves with Spire, Haley, and now Hendrick Motorsports, which has also kind of fueled a bit rumors about the 48 ride and how that's going. But there's a lot of things a lot of moving parts because of this trade. But as for Corey LaJoie, I mean, these 8 races, he's going to have to stop doing what he's been doing this year, and that is wrecking. And he kind of did just that with where he qualified. I mean, he qualified in the top 10, I believe in the 8th or 9th position. very fast throughout the entire weekend, even during practice was very fast. So seems like as soon as this trade happened, he realized how to drive now, I guess. But definitely he's improved greatly throughout this week in terms of consistent performance, what he's shown behind the wheel of that 7 car. But I'm very interested into seeing how Justin Haley does, because Haley's been running really good in that 51 car. The 7 ride, much better, I think, in terms of performance and what is around the 7 car. Much better than the 51 ride. So very curious to see how Justin Haley performs there, but also curious to see how Corey LaJoie does with a new team, because sometimes you may just need to have like a little kick in the butt, or maybe just have to be around new people, be around new team in order to, I don't want to say figure out how to drive, but in order for things to start working in your favor. So very interested to seeing how this thing plays out, but it has been a while since we've seen a trade in NASCAR. I can't remember the last time a trade has happened. I think the one time I can remember, I think it was 2012 with Regan Smith and Kurt Busch with Phoenix Racing and Furniture Row Racing. I think that was the last time. I can't remember, but it's been a while since we've seen a trade in NASCAR, so I'm interested in seeing how this goes. Let's go into it with now our playoff grade. Let's see what the standings look like heading into the final race of the round of 16. At the moment, Joe Logano is still the only one that is safe with a win. Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, and Alex Bowman, they are sitting very, very nicely at 46, 43, and 41 respectively. Daniel Suarez sitting very nicely as well at plus 36. Then is Tyler Reddick at plus 30, as well as Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney at plus 29, Kyle Larson at 26, and William Byron at plus 25. Then you get into the real danger zone. Chase Briscoe and Ty Gibbs tied at plus 6. 6 points. Ty Gibbs holds the final spot ahead of his teammate Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski minus 12, Martin Truex Jr. minus 14, and Harrison Burton sitting at minus 20. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Busch Light Pole Award, given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Alex Bowman for his 5th career pole, his first pole since the Daytona 500 last year, and an interesting little nugget, this is only the 2nd time he has qualified on the pole at a track not named Daytona. The first, you have to go all the way back to the penultimate race of the season at Phoenix in 2016, and he wins the pole at Bristol yesterday with a speed of 126.720 miles per hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $70 million in becoming a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. So here's a look at the 2024 Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol starting lineup. The top 3 all occupied by Hendrick drivers. Alex Bowman starting alongside his teammate and the 2021 Bristol night race winner, Kyle Larson. Row 2 has William Byron in the 24 ride and Martin Truex Jr., who is a former winner here in the 19 ride. The playoff drivers continue in row 3. Chase Briscoe in the number 14 ride. Great start for that car and that team, starting alongside Christopher Bell in the Joe Gibbs Racing number 20 Toyota. Row 4 has rookie Carson Hocevar. How about that? Continuing the momentum from last weekend at Watkins Glen. Excellent run for that 77 ride, starting alongside Denny Hamlin, a multiple-time winner here at Bristol. And how about this? Ran out the top 10. Corey LaJoie, one day after it was announced that he'd be leaving the 7 ride after tonight's race at Bristol, puts it in 9th place, starting alongside Chase Elliott in the 9 car. Row 6 has Bubba Wallace, the number 23 ride, just signed a new contract extension over the weekend, starting alongside Ross Chastain in the number 1 car. Row 7 has Ty Gibbs in the He Gets Those Toyota car, starting alongside Ryan Preece in the 41 ride. Row 8 has Tyler Reddick in the McDonald's Toyota, starting alongside Noah Gragson in the 10 ride. Row 9 has Chris Buescher and Michael McDowell side by side together. And row 10, rounding out the top 20, is AJ Allmendinger and Joe Logano, the only one that's safe at the moment, in the 20th position. Row 11 has Daniel Hemrick starting alongside Ryan Blaney. Row 12 has Brad Keselowski, who won here back in 2011, starting alongside Todd Gillen. Rookie Josh Berry and Justin Haley in his final ride with the 51 car, starting in row 13. Row 14, Austin Cindric and John Nemechek, and RCR duo Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon. Poor performances from them, starting in the 29th and 30th position. Row 16 has Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Eric Jones. Row 17 has rookie Zane Smith and Harrison Burton. How about that? Daniel Suarez, unusual qualifying position for him, starting in 35th place, the worst out of all playoff drivers. And starting alongside is Kaz Grala in the 15 ride, with Josh Bilicki in the Arby's Ford rounding out the 37 car field. Here's a look at the odds to win the Bass Pro Shops night race. First page, all but one occupied by playoff drivers. Kyle Larson, the best odds at plus 400. Denny Hamlin, teammate Chris Bell, 500 and 550 respectively. Ryan Blaney at plus 750 and Byron at plus 900. Truex Jr. and teammate Ty Gibbs, 1100 and 1200 respectively. Alex Bowman at 1300. Kyle Busch, the only non-playoff driver on this page, at plus 1600. And Chase Elliott at plus 1800, as well as Brad Keselowski in the 6th ride. Then a duo of plus 2200s going to Chase Briscoe and Bubba Wallace. Ross Chastain at plus 2500 and Chris Buescher at plus 2800. Bit of a surprise to see Tyler Reddick this far down at plus 3500, as well as Ricky Josh Berry and Joey Logano. Austin Cindric at plus 6500 and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at plus 8000. So what can we expect tonight here at Bristol? I know one thing you're not going to expect. What we saw in the spring in the Food City 500, you're not going to see that, what we saw at that race. That race was an anomaly when we saw tires fall off like nothing. You're not going to see that here. If you watch practice, basically the lap average from 5 lap average to the 30 lap average, the tire fall off was just about half a second. Compile that when you consider the fact that Thursday, the truck race, and Friday night, the Xfinity race, all that rubber being laid onto the racetrack. Many drivers equivalent this tire to what we saw last year or last fall's race when there was virtually no tire fall off. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this race will be all about track position, as it has been with the next gen car here on the short track. So that is going to be a bit disappointing, or I shouldn't say a bit, it will be very disappointing that this track will be all about track position. And I think you're going to see similar to what we saw at last year's race. If you look at last year's race, there were 6 leaders in last year's Bristol night race. 5 of those 6 leaders all finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Meaning you're going to be a front runner. On top of that, 7 of the top 10 finishers in last year's race all started inside the top 10. So I feel like that trend is going to continue on today, which means if you're going to want to have a shot at winning this race or have a good finish, no mistakes on pit road. You cannot do anything to screw yourself, because it is going to be a pain in the ass to make yourself get up through the field, knowing more than likely that the tire that we're going to be seeing in this race tonight is going to have virtually no tire fall off or very little. So that's why I also expect very little caution. So honestly, if you are looking at drivers on what to watch for, look who's in the top 10. I'm even going to throw in Corey LaJoie, because Corey LaJoie has actually been really good this weekend. I mentioned that earlier in the show, but he has been putting up some very solid numbers in the top 5, top 10 area, in the 5, 10, 15, 20 lap average. So he's been running very good this weekend. I don't know if it's going to correlate into race time, but I would just keep an eye on that 7 ride to potentially have at least a pretty good finish, knowing that A, he doesn't make a mistake, and or B, something doesn't happen to him. If he is able to have a clean race, he could have a good shot at a top 10 finish. Same thing with his teammate Carson Hocevar. I mean, that Spire team has been on the money, especially in recent weeks, outside of the 7 car, except for tonight, or except for this weekend. So watch out for those 2 drivers. Obviously, we got to talk about the bottom 4 drivers to fight for the next round in the round of 12. You look at champions and Hall of Famers. I mean, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin below the cut line, and Brad Keselowski. Harrison Burton, he's out. We know for a fact he's not going to advance. So we're not even going to include him in this. Sorry, Harrison, I love you, but you're not going to advance. So we're going to focus on the 6, the 11, and the 19. Honestly, I don't see all 3 of them making it. I do feel like 2 of them will be out. And I think the one that can potentially advance is maybe 8, Denny Hamlin. He's only 6 points behind. That is nothing. He can gain that like nothing at the moment, starting in the 8th position. Ty Gibbs and Chase Briscoe, though, I mean, they are above the cut line just at +6. Chase Briscoe starting great in the 5th position. That is good. Again, if history repeats itself, if you start in the top 10, more likely you can finish in the top 10 if you don't have a mistake. So far, he's starting off really good. Ty Gibbs, on the other hand, he's starting a bit farther back in the 13th position, but still, he can, I think, make up a couple of spots and have a solid finish. It's going to be very interesting because the 11 and 19, they're not facing easy competition with the 14 and the 54 team. Those are teams that I feel like they can really put up a solid fight. And Chase Briscoe, I'm surprised a little bit because I thought Chase Briscoe would make into the round of 12, but I don't know about with this type of competition he would, going up against Hall of Famers and champions like the 11, the 6, and the 19. But they've been putting up some very strong efforts. As for everyone else, like William Byron at 25, Kyle Larson 26, Blaney at 29, yes, they're not safe, but I honestly don't see a situation occurring where what we saw last night with Justin Allgaier, the guy that was fighting for the regular season title, just have a god-awful day. I don't see that happening here tonight. I think it's going to be, as long as they don't make any mistakes, they don't have any self-inflicted wounds, I feel like the 12, the 5, and the 24 card, they'll be fine. Everyone else on up, I think it's going to be fine. The battle to make it to the round of 12 is going to be from 11th place down to 15th place. Those drivers, those 5 drivers, very, very important that they have gained as many points as they possibly can. Because what's interesting, though, is that all those drivers I just mentioned, the 14, the 54, the 11, the 6, and the 19, they all need stage points. All but the 6 car of Brad Keselowski are at least 15th or better. Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski are the only 2 drivers that are starting outside the top 10. But again, Ty Gibbs is 13th. He's within striking distance. Brad Keselowski, on the other hand, he's starting in 23rd. So 23rd place to make up 13 spots. And with the speed that the 6 car has brung this weekend, the 6 car, in my eyes, you're looking at a must-win situation, because I don't think they have the points to be able to make up that deficit. Now, knowing Brad Keselowski, that 6 team has been known to do some wild things during pit strategy to gain an advantage, to gain some stage points. I have no doubt they'll do the same here tonight, that they will go off strategy just to gain an advantage in the hopes that something falls their way. But the 6 team is, in my eyes, the most dire out of all the playoff drivers I just mentioned, because they, not only are they starting near the back, they're starting in 23rd place. They haven't shown the speed, and they are in a bit worse position than, let's say, the 11 team. The 11 team needs 6 points. Truex needs 14 points, but he's starting in 4th place. He can go up there and take the lead. All those other drivers, the 54 team, they can get up there, earn some stage points to help build that deficit. Chase Briscoe starting in 5th place. He can easily get up to the front. They've shown great speed this weekend. He can gain some stage points to help build that buffer on the 11 team. But it is going to be very close, but very, very interesting to watch to see what happens here tonight. But as we take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup for Bristol here tonight, this is what I got. I got the 12 car of Ryan Blaney. He has been really fast in practice, but he is deep in the grid. But I feel like that if they can get a lucky break, or do some off strategy to be able to get an advantage, have a caution fall the way, I feel like they have the car to be able to stay up to the front and have a good finish. The 14 of Briscoe, I got him. I got the 24 of Byron, the 48 of Alex Bowman, the pole sitter, because again, if it's anything like what we saw last week or last year at Bristol, if you can stay up front, you will at least have a very good finish. So I have the 48 car there in my lineup. Denny Hamlin, and I got Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace has been another driver that has been very good in practice. Qualified at 11th place, just barely missed out on the top 10. But I feel like that he can be a good fill-in spot in case any one of my drivers have some issues there. So I got him in my garage. Now, the 4 drivers that I have being eliminated. Right off the bat, the 21 of Harrison Burton. He's out. There's no way in hell he's going to advance. So I got him out. I also have the 19 out. I have the 19 out. I have the 6 out. But I have Hamlin in, and I feel like he can knock out Ty Gibbs. I just have this feeling that with Denny Hamlin, yes, the first 2 races have been atrocious for that 11 team, but I feel like, I just have this feeling that he can be able to gain those 6 points and get ahead of Ty Gibbs. And I feel like the 11 car will bump the 54 out of the playoffs, but I think it's going to happen by like maybe 1 point, 1 or 2 points. It's not going to be by a big margin. Ty Gibbs will pull up a fight. Now, my pick to win this race involves none of the drivers that I mentioned. It involves a Joe Gibbs driver, Christopher Bell. I have him winning tonight here at Bristol. Now, he is starting up in the top 10, starting in the 6th position. Last fall's Bristol night race, he finished 3rd. He led the most laps out of anyone in that race, more than Denny Hamlin, who won last year's race. So, because of that, I feel like with Christopher Bell, again, if they can stay up towards the front, Christopher Bell is really good at Bristol, had a great car last fall. I feel like he can just get a bit of an edge on the competition, knowing that He is relatively safe. He is plus 40 something. He's second in the playoff grid, so he has a big buffer where they can do more things. They can be a bit more experimentative in terms of the strategy calls that they do. And I feel like the 20 car will be the driver to cap off the round of 16 in victory lane. But regardless, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm a bit nervous with the tire fall off, or the lack of tire fall off, I should say. But I'm intrigued to see how this final race will play out in terms of who will make it and who will not make it in the round of 12. But that's it for this episode of MDK Racing. Let me know, who do you think is going to advance and who you think is going to win in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. As always, until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thanks for watching.